Hey, how you doing tonight? I am Taquila Coleman, best-selling author, God-ordained marriage coach, and founder of GodOrdainedMarriage.com. Tonight, I'm going to be teaching on Let Them Go. We're going to break the soul ties that was formed with your prodigal spouse. Okay. So, those of you who are tuning in, who are jumping on the line, the live, say hello. Let me know where you are tuning in from. If this is your first time catching me live, welcome. Make sure you hit that subscribe button so that you can be subscribed to this channel. And also make sure everyone is turning on your notification button just by clicking that bell right below this live video. Okay. So I see we have Nisha, Shayla, God's Child. Thank you all for joining. Shayla, she's in Michigan. Hey, Amy. Thank you all for joining tonight. So listen, we are teaching on Let Them Go. Okay. Hey everyone, I see you all jumping on. Just continue to jump on, say hello as y'all are jumping on the live. So we teaching on tonight, Let Them Go. Okay. I want to start off just by saying when you hear me say them, I am referring to prodigals. Okay. So tonight's teaching is on letting go of your prodigal spouse. And I'm going to, break this all the way down. What does it mean when God tells you to let go of your prodigal spouse? Because for some of you, you may think God is telling you to stop praying. For some of you, you may think God is telling you that he's raising up another one. We're going to bring some clarity to tonight's, class. I'm about to say master class. I'm thinking I'm inside of my academy. But when God tells you to let go of your prodigal spouse, he's simply telling you to break the soul tie, the unhealthy or the ungodly soul tie that was formed with your prodigal spouse. Okay. So, hey everyone, I see everyone jumping on. Thank you all for jumping on tonight's live. So, here's the thing. Did you know that when you form a soul tie with an individual, when you form a soul tie, whether it's a good soul tie or a bad soul tie, because we could form, I'm gonna call them healthy or unhealthy soul ties with individuals. But did you know when you form these soul ties with these individuals, you are coming into covenant with the individual? Okay. I need you all to understand this. Whenever you form a soul tie with a person, you have now come into covenant, okay, with that individual. Okay, so you're either in covenant with God or you're going to be in covenant with the kingdom of darkness. Okay, and I need you to understand, covenants are powerful. Okay, and covenants are, they could be a little hard to break. Okay, which is why we want to be mindful of who we are forming these soul ties with. Okay, if it's a good soul tie, then great. That means you're coming into covenant with the kingdom of God. But when you form soul ties with a prodigal, that means you're now coming into covenant with the kingdom of darkness, because prodigal has the door open to the enemy. Prodigal has the door open to the enemy, right? Prodigals operate in pride. Prodigal, they are led by the lust of the flesh, right? Prodigals are not walking with the Lord. Okay, do y'all understand this? So when you form soul ties with a prodigal, this now becomes an ungodly soul tie that is now being formed with a prodigal spouse. Okay, which also means you have now come into covenant with the kingdom of darkness. Now, scripture tell us, it's a I'm trying to remember the scripture. I should have wrote it down, but it talks about blessings and curses, right? So blessings come when we are in covenant with God, but curses come as a result of disobedience, right? And this is what you're going to reap when you come into covenant. When you form that soul tie with your prodigal spouse, you're going to reap curses into your life. Okay. And so these curses will begin to show up in the ways where now you are being attacked with anxiety. Curses is going to look like depression, okay, or sadness, or unhappiness, or you're frustrated all the time, or it could show up in anger and bitterness and resentment, right? Or now you're operating in having an unforgiving heart, or you're disappointed all the time. Okay. This is a result of coming into covenant. Remember, when you form a soul tie, an ungodly soul tie with a prodigal, you just came into covenant with this individual. Okay. And as a result of you coming into covenant with the prodigal, with the kingdom of darkness, you're going to reap these curses. Okay. So you're going to feel tired all the time. You're going to be exhausted. You're going to be stressed out. Okay. You're going to be met with rejection after rejection after rejection. You're going to be met with abandonment. You're going to be met with betrayal. Okay. You're going to feel neglected. It's going to start affecting your self-esteem. So you're going to suffer from low self-esteem. You're going to have low self-esteem and also low self-worth. Okay. Do you understand this? You will begin to just be confused all the time, right? Never understanding. That is because of this covenant you made with this prodigal, the soul tie you made with this prodigal. Okay. You will feel taken advantage of. You will feel like your prodigal, they don't really appreciate you, right? You will constantly feel overlooked by your prodigal. You will be met with broken promises. Your prodigal, telling you, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. They promising you things only to let you down. This is a result because you're reaping. I want to use the word benefit, but it's not a benefit. Curses are not a benefit, but you're reaping the curses from this covenant. Okay. So, like I said, you're going to be met with broken promises. You will be committed to your prodigal while the prodigal commits to no one. I'm going to say that again. You will be the one who's fully committed to your prodigal spouse while your prodigal commits to no one, because prodigals are selfish. Prodigals choose their pride. Prodigals, there is no loyalty, because if you're not loyal to God, you cannot be loyal to this one right here. You see what I'm saying? So prodigals commit to no one. And again, you will be left feeling alone. Okay. You would be met with stagnation, going around in circles. Okay. And the list goes on and on and on. So understand, when we talk about breaking unhealthy or ungodly soul ties with a prodigal, okay, you also breaking covenants. I wrote a book a couple of years ago called From Depression to Deliverance. And in that book, I think that's the book I wrote, because I wrote like 6 books. But in that book, there's a section on how to break soul ties. And I remember I used to think all it took to break a soul tie was to say this prayer. I remember I put in the book, like, Heavenly Father, I repent for forming this unhealthy soul tie with. I say the person's name. I ask that you would forgive me. I ask that you would break this soul tie in Jesus' name, right? I used to think that was all it takes to break a soul tie, but that's not the case. Prayer isn't enough to break a soul tie, an unhealthy soul tie. Okay? I need y'all to understand this. Prayer isn't enough to break an unhealthy soul tie, because when we talk about the soul, your soul consists of your mind, will, and your emotions. So your mind, will, and your emotions is tied up in this thing. It's tied up in something that is unhealthy. Your mind, will, and emotions is tied up in something that is no good for you. Okay? The enemy can train you into desiring something that is no good for you. This is why, ever since I reached this promised land, the Lord been speaking to me every day about letting him go. Not God, but the prodigal spouse. That's all I've been hearing, letting him go. God sending me all these messages, let him go, let him go, let him go, right? And we already know when you get to the promised land, the promised place, that's stage 8, right? And that's when, God is going to begin to communicate to you all and telling you, if you haven't already, to let go of your prodigal spouse. But listen, I'm here today telling you right now, let them go. You don't got to wait till you get to stage 8. Let your prodigal spouse go. Okay, I'm going to break this all the way down. But when we talk about forming unhealthy soul ties with a prodigal, this is a soul tie God doesn't want us to form. I need you to understand this, okay? There are good soul ties, and then there's bad soul ties. Let's read 1 Samuel 18, verse 1. It say, and it came to pass when he had made an end of speaking unto Saul, that the soul of Jonathan was knit with the soul of David, and Jonathan loved him as his own soul. So this is a prime example of a good soul tie, a godly soul tie. Okay, Jonathan loved David as his own soul. But let me tell you something. God doesn't want you knitting your soul with a prodigal, not right now, okay? God doesn't choose the prodigal version of your spouse. When God restores your spouse into their right mind, when he restores them back into a right position with God, they now walking with the Lord. God has humbled them in their pride. They walking out this self-control and self-discipline. Okay, they walking in humility. That's when God is like, okay, now you can knit yourself together with my son or daughter, because this is healthy. This is what's good for you. But God is saying today, do not knit yourself together with a prodigal spouse, okay, with a prodigal, because you're knitting yourself, okay, with the kingdom of darkness, and you're going to reap. It's not a benefit, but you're going to reap the curses, okay, of what I just described, to you. And I want to read this, okay? I want to read this to you because, like how I said, soul consists of your mind, will, and your emotions. And tie, here's the definition, and then I'm going to read some of the synonyms for the word tie. It means restrict or limit someone. Some of the synonyms for the word tie are confine, hinder, block, slow, obstruct, handicap, shackle, inhibit. Is not good. When you form this unhealthy, ungodly soul tie with a prodigal, it's going to block your blessing. It's going to slow down your progress. It's going to hinder your success. Are you following me? Are y'all following me? Okay. I'm gonna stay out the comments because I don't want to get distracted. Because y'all like to hear what I say, but then you get in your own way and start posting this stuff in the comments. So I'm gonna just stay out the comments today, okay? And I'm gonna just deliver this message. I already prayed that God will open up y'all understanding. I already rebuked the spirit of confusion off of everyone who's joining this live or who's going to watch this replay. Okay, I don't got time for it tonight. I need y'all to listen. Okay, listen to what I'm saying. If I don't say what you're posting in the comment, just listen, okay? Let's stay on one accord here, okay? So God wants you to break this soul tie, this unhealthy soul tie with your prodigal spouse. And let me just say this, just to ease some of y'all anxiety. Again, when God say break the unhealthy soul tie with your prodigal, God's not saying he's raising up another one. He's not saying I'm not choosing this prodigal. He's not saying he's going to give you a divine replacement. Okay? Are we clear? Okay, let the anxiety go. That's not what God is saying. What God is saying is break the soul, this unhealthy soul tie you form with this prodigal, because you're coming into agreement with the kingdom of darkness. This is why you're tired every day. This is why you're stressed out. This is why you're exhausted. This is why, you feel the way how you feel every day. This is why you lost your joy. This is why. You drain. You're like, I'm tired of this. Let go of that prodigal. Break that soul tie, and you will find your joy. You will find your strength. That's what I'm saying here, okay? So if y'all hear something else, that's on y'all, okay? Scripture say in 2 Corinthians 6, verses 14 through 18, say, do not be unequally yoked together with unbelievers. It tells us to separate ourselves, to come out from among them, okay? It's for a reason. God doesn't want us yoking ourselves with individuals who are not walking. Okay, Amos 3:3 say, "Can two walk together except they be agreed?" A prodigal and a believing spouse are not walking in agreement. So don't yoke yourself with that individual until they come into agreement with what God is joining together. You continue to walk, okay, forward, even if that means you got to walk alone. Well, you got God with you, but y'all know what I mean. You continue to walk forward, okay? Do not yoke yourself with this individual, okay? It goes back to understanding the soul. Your soul consists of your mind, will, and your emotions, okay? Some of us have yoked ourselves with our prodigal. Your will is where you make your decisions from. Okay. So when you yoke yourself with this, let me use another word. When you form an unhealthy soul tie with a prodigal, your prodigal is now the one in control of your decision making. God tell you get out of the kitchen, but then because of your prodigal operating in manipulation, right? They call you one week, next week you don't hear from. Now they back in. Now you're back in the kitchen, right? Your prodigal now is in control of your will. Okay, you're not even submitting to God because you gave yourself over to your prodigal, right? Your prodigal is in control of your emotion, up and down, up and down. Your prodigal is dictating how you're going to feel every single day. You might have one good day where you're feeling good and happy. Tomorrow, prodigal can call you, say one thing to you, and just mess up your whole entire day. This is why God is saying, break the soul tie, the unhealthy soul tie with your prodigal spouse. Okay? And let me tell you this too. Because you have to get your prodigal out of the driver's seat. I say this all the time, okay? You're not going to get the glory for God's love story. Your prodigal for sure won't get the glory for God's love story. It can only be one person leading and guiding this love story, and that's God. It's called a God ordained marriage for a reason. God is the one, he's the leader, he's the head. This is his marriage, this is his idea. He's the one who chose you for your spouse, okay? So God said it's only going to be one that's driving this, okay? And God knows exactly, okay, where he's driving this, this relationship, this marriage, too. He know everything, okay? So you got to kick your prodigal out of the driver's seat of your life, okay? Because if you don't, you're going to begin to find yourself losing hope. Okay. If you allow your prodigal to continue to drive your emotion, if you allow your prodigal to continue to, drive you in whichever way, okay, giving you broken promises, false hope, leading you on. Some of you are living with your prodigal. If you continue to allow your prodigal to stay in this driver's seat, it's going to make your heart sick. It tells us in Proverbs chapter 13, verse 12, it's a hope deferred makes the heart sick. This is why God is saying, break this unhealthy soul tie with your prodigal, okay? Break this unhealthy soul tie you form with your prodigal, okay? Because God doesn't want your hope being deferred and then now it's making your heart sick. No, when you break that unhealthy soul tie with your prodigal, you're going to find a new hope, okay? You're going to get a new hope, okay? Your joy is going to come back, okay? Strength is going to come back into you. Clarity is going to skyrocket, okay? I'm telling you, this is why God is saying, he's like, break the soul tie, let him go. Y'all hear him. You be hearing the Lord tell you, however the Lord communicated to you, okay? For me, God was like, let him go. God was like, leave. However way God is communicating this to you, he's telling you this because you can't see the next step that God, is leading you into because you're still holding on to this prodigal. You still have this toxic soul tie with this individual. So God is like, break it, cut it. Okay. He's like, cut it, break that soul tie so I can reveal to you, okay, where I'm taking you. Okay. God wants you to break this soul tie so that you can get a new hope. Okay. He wants to show you, I got a better life for you. You're going to step into that better life before you're prodigal. I know some of y'all don't want to hear that, but it's the truth. You're going to step into this new life before your prodigal, okay? They're going to come, but not at the same time when God allows you to step into it. But to step into this new thing that God has waiting for you, you gotta let go of that prodigal, because the prodigal can't come into the promise. Old toxic thoughts, old way of being, okay? Old memories of the past can't come into the promised land. So this is why God sent me here today to just tell you, okay, it's time to break the soul, unhealthy soul tie. I got to put emphasis on unhealthy because, like I said, you can form a good soul tie, a healthy soul tie, but God is putting emphasis on break this unhealthy soul tie, okay? It's unhealthy. It's making you sick. It's stressing you out. You can't sleep at night. It's getting on your nerves. It's causing you to not see your own worth or value. It's causing you to lower your standards, okay? It's causing you to emotional eat. It's causing you to now move into feeling jealous or comparing yourself or even competing with a counterfeit. So God is saying, break it so that you can remember your value. Break this unhealthy soul tie so that you can see what you deserve and don't deserve. It's time to break it. I keep hearing that song. I keep hearing that song in my head. It's time to cut it. I don't know I can't find the beat to it, but I keep hearing that song playing in my head. Okay? So let's get into this teaching tonight. Pink Panther said, "Dang, you are speaking." Listen, the Lord, I'm telling you, the Lord I've been here 2 weeks. I think that's all I've been hearing. Break the soul tie, let them go. I'm like, okay, all right. I'm gonna walk this thing out. Okay. I'm like, you gotta tell me twice, I'm gonna do it. Okay. So let's talk about when is it time to let go. Okay. Like how I said, I'm gonna break this all the way down because again, in the past, when I wrote my book From Depression to Deliverance, I thought breaking a soul tie, all you had to do to break an unhealthy soul tie was just say this prayer and then just have faith that God broke it. No, that's part of it, but because that unhealthy soul tie is a covenant, okay? That's a covenant, an unhealthy covenant with the kingdom of darkness. So it's going to take more than just prayer. For some of you, you might have to fast. Others of you, you're going to have to get in control of your emotions, okay? You're going to have to walk this thing out one day at a time. I said to God, and I'm very transparent on here. I was like, okay, God, you keep telling me to let this person go. I will. I said, but I need you to, walk with me every single day. I need you to remove these thoughts. I need you to, I really went there with God. Take the desire away. I went there with the Lord, and so he's doing it. I can feel it going away every single day, and I'm telling you got to take this thing one day at a time. Okay. But when is it time to let go? It's time to let go of your prodigal spouse when you lose all respect for him. That's when it's time to let go. When you start losing respect for your prodigal, because you got to understand, when you lose respect for your prodigal, you immediately lose attraction for this individual. Okay. You don't even want to be, that's really when some of you start asking God for a divine replacement because you just lost respect for this individual. You're like, I don't respect him or her anymore. Like sit up here acting a fool. I don't respect that. Right. So it's time to let go. As soon as you start losing respect for this individual, you don't want this individual, touching you or around you. You don't even want to be around this person. This is how it's time to let go. It's time to let go when the individual, so when your prodigal keeps turning a blind eye to your worth and value, okay? Gone are the days of you, the believing spouse, trying to get your prodigal to see your worth and value. If they continue to turn a blind eye, if they continue to choose to turn a blind eye to your worth and value, say, peace, I'm out, okay? Because it's not that your prodigal don't see or recognize your worth and value. They fully see it. However, what you're dealing with is the kingdom of darkness is operating through this prodigal. And one of the goals of the kingdom of darkness, one of the goals of the enemy is to pull down your self-esteem, is to cause you to feel worthless, like nothing. Okay, so your prodigal spouse is very well aware of your value, your worth. Okay, your prodigal recognize you are a good woman or you are a good man. However, because they have that door open to the enemy, now the enemy is coming in, influencing your prodigal to turn a blind eye, okay, to your worth and value. So when your prodigal show you this, now you got to stop giving your prodigal your attention and say, you know what, I'm gonna go ahead and give my worth and value to those who can see it, who recognize it, and who embrace it. Okay. No more stand around trying to get your prodigal to see you, to choose you, to pick you, or even tell you, okay, that God revealed to them that you are their husband or wife, whatever. We don't got time for that. We moving forward. Okay. So they keep on turning a blind eye to your worth and value. Say, you know what? I'm going to let you keep turning a blind eye to my worth and value while I'll go ahead over here. Okay. You know, it's time to let go whenever constructive criticism turns into emotional abuse. So for those of you who are, you still in contact with your prodigal, you still talk to him here and there, or you might even live with them, because you got to understand prodigals, because for some of you all it's hard for you to still accept that you're dealing with a prodigal. you know um for some of you, you focus more on the fact that they say they believe God, or they say, they go to church, or maybe you even see your prodigal going to church, so you allow that to determine to you that this person isn't a prodigal, versus looking at their actions, looking at how they making you feel, looking or listen to the words that's coming out their mouth. But understand this: when constructive criticism turns into emotional abuse, you know it's time to let go of this individual. So this can look like your prodigal saying things such as, or hinting to you're fat, or calling you big boned, or anything around your weight. Okay, usually this would happen. They will identify your insecurity, okay, and try to pick at it, right? But they're going to come from the angle that this is constructive criticism, when it's not. This is really emotional abuse, because it's designed to make you feel low, less than. It's designed to put you in that seat of, competing or seeking their approval, okay? So don't fall for that. Know that this is emotional abuse, okay? But if your prodigal is saying any of these things, like I said, calling you fat, big bone, whatever, taking shots at you, making their little comments, it's all designed to pull down your self-esteem. And so you got to let this individual go, because as long as they stay in your life, as long as you continue to lend your ear to this person, they are now in control of how you see yourself. A prodigal's job is to get you to see yourself how they see you, which isn't good, not all the time. So therefore, you gotta, begin to see this for what it is. Okay. If you know it, it's not constructive criticism, because it's one thing to hint at a woman's weight. But if the person isn't trying to partner with you, if they're not trying to become your workout partner, if they're not, meeting with you to come up with an eating plan, they're not really trying to help you. They just want to become critical of you and emotionally abuse you. So you got to understand, okay, the trick of the enemy, and make sure you don't have that door open to that enemy to come in and tear down your self-esteem, okay? You know it's time to let go of your prodigal whenever you keep being blindsided by this and that. You know what the this and that is, okay? Whenever you keep being blindsided, whenever you keep being betrayed, whenever you keep being stabbed in the front and the back, you know it is time to say goodbye to this individual. Because again, this is unhealthy. It's no good for you. And it's designed, we already know the enemy's purpose is to kill, steal, and destroy. That's exactly what this prodigal is on a mission to do, because they have the door open to the enemy. And again, this is why God is telling us to break this unhealthy soul tie with your prodigal. Okay? You know it's time to let go whenever the prodigal is set on trying to destroy you, trying to destroy your life, trying to destroy your purpose. Whenever your prodigal begins to behave from a place of jealousy and envy, it's time to let it go. Okay? It's time to let it go. That's not the version, okay, of your spouse who God has chosen for you. Okay? This is called a God ordained marriage. Let your prodigal spouse let your prodigal spouse go so God can continue ordaining them, forming them, molding and shaping them into the man or woman that God has created them to be. Okay. Now, yes, the prodigal can be restored to be a God ordained spouse. In order for that to take place, we have to let go. Okay. We got to let go. You got to take your hands off. Okay. I'm going to say this and then I'm going to get back on track. When God revealed to you that this is your spouse, and when God revealed to you that you're dealing with a prodigal, and when God put you on your prayer post, that was the day when God started with the restoration with your prodigal spouse. Okay. We don't always see all of what God is doing, but understand, as soon as you got on that prayer post and you start praying for your prodigal, God began to go to work. Restoration, okay, it comes in like small little increments. Okay, it comes with correction here and there. It comes with some of the scales starting to fall off the eye or the ears. Okay, it could come in a form of healing. Okay, it could come in a form of God removing certain people out of your prodigal's life. Okay, but yes, when God reveals to you this person is your spouse, however, right now they are in a prodigal state of being, God is telling you that's not the version of this person I chosen for you. However, I'm going to put you on your prayer post so you can pray for them. The whole reason why God is having us to pray for them, because they may not have someone in their life who's praying for them. And so the enemy, because God know all, he know the enemy is after the prodigal life, even though the prodigal is serving the enemy. You see that? Even though your prodigal is serving the enemy, is on the enemy side, they think they winning. They think they got it good hanging out with the enemy. The enemy is trying to take your prodigal's life. So God said, go ahead and pray for your prodigal. However, God never wants us to join ourselves with them. That's why he say divine separation. That's why each time you go in the kitchen, he kick you out of the kitchen. How does God kick you out of the kitchen when you go in the kitchen? By allowing you to see things that hurt your feelings. That will keep you out of the kitchen for a couple of days or a couple of months. Okay. He will allow you to continue to get hurt because you were disobedient until you learn to stay out of that kitchen. Okay. So understand that. So yes, God can, I forgot the question, but God can restore a prodigal, okay, into their right mind. Let's talk about the danger of forming a soul tie with a prodigal. The danger of forming a soul tie with a prodigal is that now you are met with mind games, okay? Because you have formed this unhealthy soul tie with this prodigal, you like connected yourself with this individual. You have tied your soul to this individual. Now this individual get to play these mind games with you. Now the prodigal is in control of your emotion. Up and down. It's like Vivica and Fox. You on an emotional roller coaster every single day. And you wondering why. You getting upset with God. You're like, God, why would you choose this? Right? I ain't the only one who said this. Why would you choose this for me? You don't got something better, right? And God is like, why are you connecting yourself with this prodigal? All I told you to do was just pray for him. That's it. That's it. Okay? But the danger of forming a unhealthy soul tie with a prodigal, they play mind games with you. Your prodigal will lead you down the path of destruction. You're going to be met with false hope after false hope after false hope, broken promises. Okay. If you living with a prodigal and they have proven to you that you should not ever in your life take their word, however, you continue to listen to their word and now you're facing homelessness, that's the danger of forming an unhealthy soul tie with a prodigal. You're not even in control of your soul. Your prodigal is the one who's in control of it. The devil is in control of your soul at this point. Okay. You become a target to the enemy because of all these open doors. And prodigal, let me tell you something. Prodigals, when you form this unhealthy soul tie with a prodigal, it will pull you into becoming disobedient to what God told you. And when you go over to Deuteronomy 28, it talks about there's curses for disobedience. And so now your prodigal, because they are in control of your will, your soul, right? They're pulling you into curses. You wondering why, you can't break free. It's because it's like a web. It's like a web, you're tied in, you can never break free. It's because each time you go in that kitchen, you are in disobedience. I want you all to really read Deuteronomy 28, read the blessings, and then also read the curses. And then I want you to write down, when you read the curses for disobedience, write down all of the curses you see manifesting in your life. I need you all to do this so you can get this revelation. When you realize, like, wait a minute, when you realize, like, me operating this way, or because I keep going in the kitchen, or because I keep answering the phone, or because I keep responding back to the text, and I'm seeing these curses manifest in my life, now you got to ask yourself, are they worth it? No prodigal is worth you living a cursed life. I don't care. Come on now. It ain't no amount of love in this world to sit up here and have you living up under a curse. Mm-mm. Mm-mm. So I really want you all to do this, okay? Go to Deuteronomy 28. This is your homework assignment, okay? Go to Deuteronomy 28 tonight after this live. Read blessings for obedience, and then also read curses for disobedience. I want you to write down, when you read the curses, and read the NIV or the NLT or the Message Bible version of Deuteronomy 28, okay? But when you read it, write down all the curses that you see manifesting in your life, because I know confusion is a curse, anxiety is a curse, you never being sure of your life is a curse, drought is a curse, being unsuccessful in everything you do is a curse, being defeated by your enemies, that's a curse, your womb cursed, okay? Get the revelation so that you can be like, nah, I ain't going back in that kitchen. He or she ain't worth me bringing no curse upon my life. I'm telling you, okay? I'm telling y'all what I do. This is what I do, okay, to help me stay all the way up out of that kitchen. All right, so what are we talking about here? So again, the danger of forming a soul tie with a prodigal, okay? The danger of forming an unhealthy soul tie with a prodigal is that it can take a good heart and now turn it bad. It could damage your good heart. And I'm telling you, if you're doing the work, and a lot of you are, you're fasting, you praying, you're doing the work. We got we got some of our God ordained Marriage Academy members on here. You signing up to the academy. Y'all getting all this information. You're doing all of this inner healing and deliverance work on yourself. You got to begin to ask yourself, is it worth, okay, like I'm doing all this inner healing and deliverance work on, my heart good, my character great. It's not worth, me turning all this over to a prodigal just to make my heart bad. or now to have me operating with no character or a lack of character. It's not worth it. It's not worth it. This was something I said to the Lord. I think it was like the second year. Well, like a year and a half into my stance. I was like, because I felt my heart changing, right? I was really ready to go to the old Taquila. And I was talking to the Lord. I was like, this ain't worth it. It ain't worth it. I said, all this work I've done, I've been in counseling, okay, in the past. I love to invest in myself. I'm, been doing all this inner healing. I'm forgiving people from my past. I said, it's not worth it to let a prodigal take me back from where you delivered me from. It's not worth it. And that's how you got to ask. I mean, these are the things you want to ask yourself, okay, just to put things in perspective. These are the things that will help you stay out of that kitchen. And when you realize going in the kitchen, how it's affecting you and what it's doing to you, you say it ain't worth it. They can have them. That's the mindset, that's how you start talking. They can have them. Okay. But the danger of forming an unhealthy soul tie with a prodigal is that now your prodigal is toiling with your emotion. You become the target of a prodigal's hate. A lot of you, okay, this is how your prodigal spouse, have you feeling like they hate you. And this is because you have yoked yourself with this individual. It's not that your spouse, it's not that the person hate you, it's that spirit of hate that is operating through your prodigal, that's influencing your prodigal to behave and say things that's manifesting hate. Okay. It becomes bad for your health and well-being. The danger of forming this unhealthy soul tie with your prodigal is that it becomes a one-sided friendship. It becomes a one-sided relationship. It becomes a one-sided marriage when you form an unhealthy soul tie with a prodigal. These are the dangers of doing this, okay? And again, I'm trying to spell this out because just so you are aware of why God is saying this to you, it's dangerous to form an unhealthy soul tie with a prodigal. It's dangerous, okay? So let's go over, I got 6 ways, and it is not in no particular order, but 6 ways on how you can break this soul tie, this unhealthy soul tie with a prodigal. Thank you. 6 ways on how to break this unhealthy soul tie with your prodigal. Number 1, you just got to break it. Okay, now I'm gonna go in details on what I mean. You got to break the tie. Okay, I need you to understand that you could be so deep into this unhealthy soul tie to where now it becomes a spell. Now this unhealthy soul tie is it has turned into an obsession. Okay, now it's time to break it. We got to break it. So just like how I was saying earlier, when God began to talk to me when I got here, he just every day he just been like break the soul tie, let him go. It's time to move forward. And I'm gonna tell you all this. When God began to, when you get to stage 8 and you're in the promised land, and if you haven't broken that unhealthy soul tie by then, and God began to talk to you this way, that's because he wants you focused. You have things to do when you get in the promised land, okay? And so when God began to say these things to me, I was like, okay, I'm for it. I was like, but God, I need you to walk this thing out with me, okay? Because here's what I know. I can't do this on my own. I can probably last 30 or 60 days, right? Without going in the kitchen, I don't call, we don't call one another, but I could probably last about 60 good days without going in the kitchen. But I already know that that there's an enemy. As soon as you try, because it's a principle. Now God has reminded me, this is a principle in the Bible, but as soon as you set out to do good, evil is right there, knocking at the door. But I do know this, okay? The minute I began to walk this thing out and I get 30 days in, 60 days in, that enemy is going to creep up. The enemy is gonna be whispering in my ear, go look, go look, you know, see what's going on, right? Y'all know, or you might have a dream. It might be a good dream, you know, that make you curious. Let me see. I ain't been in there a long time. Let me see, right? So this is why I was saying to God, you have to walk with me through this, okay? I want to break this as well. But I know once I get in there real good, I know once I begin to walk this thing out, you know, I may feel like I broke the tie, you know, the soul tie, but the enemy might come back up, okay? When I least suspect it and whisper something. So I was telling God, so I need you to keep me aware, keep walking this thing out with me because I want to break it, right? I mean, I want to break that bad boy in half, okay, to where it never comes back ever again. So break the tie, break that spell, break the obsession, break the hold that your prodigal has over you, okay? It's not that God is telling you to like lose the love you have for your prodigal. It's not that. Break that demonic hold, okay, that's keeping you stuck, that's keeping you, you know, not taking care of yourself, that's keeping you overlooking your own feelings. You're more invested in how your prodigal feeling and how they doing than yourself. We got to break that so that we can move into a place of now, you know, just taking care of our own well-being, okay? Are you all understanding what I'm saying? I hope you all are understanding what I'm saying, okay? But you got to allow that tie to break. You got to break that manipulation off of you. You got to stop falling for the same okie doke, your prodigal see your way over and over. Come on now. You already know when your prodigal texts you or call, you already know the game. You already know. You some of y'all, when you on the phone with your prodigal, you be like, same stuff over and over, right? Somebody wrote me, or maybe it was on a live I was doing, and they were like their prodigal text them, and they was basically asking should they respond when they know it's foolish. You know it's foolish. Why continue to entertain it? Break it. Break it. When you see the foolishness, don't give it your attention. When you hear the manipulation in their voice, don't give it your attention. Don't fall for it. When you hear the lies, call it out, but then also don't fall for it. Okay. This is how you break that soul tie. This is a tie. Think of a rope that's wrapped around you. You got to unravel that rope. So for some of us, I wish I had some scissors right here. For some of us, we got to cut that rope. Okay. So, okay, God's daughter, she said, I sent that email. Okay, well, sorry, I ain't trying to call you out, but that was what came to my head. But we gotta come on, we gotta break this tie. Okay. So that's number one. Number one is break the tie, break that hold, break that connection, break that, you know, obsession, break the spell. You know, the spell can show up. One of the ways how the enemy could put you up under a spell is with the words your prodigal say or speak to you. I need you to understand that. So your prodigal, depending on how long, you know, y'all been knowing one another, I'm speaking from a woman's standpoint, you know, the man, he's going to study you. He knows exactly what you want to hear. Okay. And we're talking about a prodigal. So this is a toxic individual. So they know exactly what to say to you. Okay. They know, you know, how to get you to open that door back up. That can become a spell the enemy uses to place you up under. So you got to stop falling for it. This is how you break the spell. Say no. Okay, I'm not falling for that. You might they can call you the little pet names or whatever, and you might love it, but say no. I know this is a trick the enemy uses to get to me. You got to break it. Okay, so that's number one. Number two, understand that the truth will set you free. The truth will set you free. What is the truth? What is the truth? Let's talk about the truth. The truth of the situation. You're dealing with a prodigal. And like how I said earlier, some of you You have, for some, you still don't really want to admit that you're dealing with a prodigal. Okay, you really don't, and I can see it. You don't want to admit that you're dealing with a prodigal. For some of you, you feel like because you standing for a prodigal, that's a reflection of you, but it's not. Until you face the truth of this situation, you're going to continue to be bound by it. Okay. So when you begin to understand what it really means to be dealing with a prodigal is someone who is not walking with the Lord. A prodigal, a individual can start off serving like as a believer. They can start off as a believer. But when their fruit, because scripture say you will know them by their fruit, right? When their fruit is communicating, I'm not walking out God's laws or commandments, right? Because in Proverbs it talks about do not lie. It talks about it don't say it this way, but I'm gonna paraphrase it. It's talking about like God hate those who lie, who slander, who sow discord, who murder. Trying to think of what all to say. But when you begin to see the fruit of what God is saying not to do in the Bible manifest through your prodigal, I don't care if this person is going to church. I don't care if they hold the title of pastor, bishop, minister, whoever, reverend. You will know them by their fruit. Even if they are in the church, but they're running from their purpose. Prodigal. Because this person has now become disobedient to the plans of God. This person is choosing their will over God's will. Prodigal, that's Jonah. Okay? I need you all to understand this so that, again, because if you stay in darkness, if you stay refusing to believe the truth, you're bound to the enemy. Okay? Scripture say the truth will set you free. The truth will set you free. So you're dealing with a prodigal here. Okay? That's not a reflection of who you are. You don't got to feel some type of way about that. That's on them. They were the ones who were disobedient to God. Okay, we all were. If we're honest, we all were. I used to be a prodigal. Okay, so let's face the truth. Okay, you're dealing with a prodigal. I can't really see right here. I need some more light. You're dealing with a prodigal. This is a one-sided. This could be a friendship. This could be a connection. This could be a relationship. This could be a marriage. But whatever the case may be, it's one-sided, and you see it. You're the one doing all the work. You're the one on that prayer post. You're the one being loyal. You're the one who's committed. You're the one who, operating the right way while your prodigal just doing whatever they want to do. It's one-sided. Okay? The other truth we got to face is, how does your prodigal make you feel? All bad. It's all bad and good. They make you feel unappreciated. They make you feel like they're taking advantage of you. They're making you feel like you don't matter. They're making you feel overlooked, rejected. All while they over here highlighting this counterfeit. All while they doing everything you wish for them to do with you, but they doing it with the counterfeit. We got to face the truth for the situation because, again, when you stay in denial, you keep holding on to a prodigal. So to break free of this, you got to face the truth. Okay? You got to face the truth for the situation. So we said, how does that make you feel? How does your prodigal treat you? Okay? So you just fill it in the blank. Okay, I'm just gonna throw this stuff out here. So how does your prodigal make you feel? How does your prodigal treat you? Okay. Um, you know, I'm starting to get this question a lot lately, but I'm getting the question: is it normal for a prodigal to end one counterfeit relationship, and jump into another counterfeit relationship? And it's normal for a prodigal because they got a reprobate mind. This is just they being led by the flesh. But the truth of the matter is, hold on. The truth of the matter is, you got to begin to ask yourself, okay, how long would I continue to tolerate this from a prodigal? Your prodigal know you on your prayer post. Your prodigal see the type of woman or man you are, right? Your prodigal, know you're good. They know this. They know, they hear what God's saying, but they keep suppressing the truth, okay? And for your prodigal to end one counterfeit relationship and go jump into a whole nother one, that tells you a lot. That's telling you to let this individual go because they're no good for you, okay? They don't even respect your stance, okay? This is what it's telling you. If your prodigal is giving you the silent treatment, if they're avoiding you, if they lying to you, if they're hanging out with your enemy, okay? And understand, if your prodigal is hanging out with your enemy, that's because your prodigal is an enemy to you, okay? But if they're doing all these things, again, you gotta face the truth of what's going on here, okay? This individual, because I think this is what gets in our way, because we get the dreams and visions that God give us of the future, right? And so we hold on to that. We like, okay, right? We hold on to these future dreams, these visions. We love that. And so we go into fight mode. We're like, okay, I'm gonna pray them through. I'm gonna fast and break the thing, right? But you got to understand, the prodigal version of your spouse doesn't deserve you, okay? They don't deserve you. And, I'm just going to give it to you how God gave it to me. You got to stop helping them. You got to stop, okay, like looking to your prodigal to give you that validation. Stop waiting on them to acknowledge you, accept you. You just got to let them go completely. And we're going to get there just by, helping ourselves to, just get to the truth of the matter. Like, this is the truth, okay? This individual, they see what you're doing. They see how you're praying. They see you walking with the Lord, how you fasting for them. They see how you always there for them, how you support them, how you love on them, but they keep turning a blind eye to it. So now it's time for you to turn a blind eye to your prodigal. That's not being harsh. If they keep refusing to see what God is presenting right before them, it's time for you to go. Okay? That isn't to say God changed his mind. That's not to say God is about to give you another or some options. No. It just simply means go. Because God, let me tell you something. And this was the first week. God began to help me understand more of my worth. Okay. The first week I got here. And it's hard to explain. It's really hard to explain what God was doing with me and how he was communicating this. But in so many words, what God wants for us, the believing spouse, he's like, look, know what you deserve and what you don't deserve. Okay. He's like, he wants us to see our worth and value. And right now, when you're dealing with a prodigal, they don't deserve you. They don't deserve you. And God doesn't want no prodigal breaking down his believing spouse. While God is building you up, he don't want no enemy coming in and breaking what God has built up. So he would tell you, let them go. He would tell you, move forward. Leave your spouse. He would tell you these things. God gonna catch your prodigal spouse up. But in the meantime, God is like, listen, you're the apple of my eye, okay? He's like, you're fearfully and wonderfully made, okay? He said, if anyone touch you, they are touching the apple of God's eye. You're precious and honor in God's sight, okay? You got to understand how God see you. So he doesn't even want prodigals, okay? He doesn't even want this prodigal version of your spouse to, harm you, hurt you, none of that. None of these things, okay? So, we got to begin to help ourselves face the truth of the situation, okay? A lot of you are getting tired of being on this prayer post. And God understands it. Okay. He understands it. And I'm gonna tell you this. I'm gonna tell you this. I'm gonna tell you this. One of the reasons why, let me correct myself, because I had did a video, I think it was 2 weeks ago. I did a video and I was saying, God told me to let go of my spouse. And I was saying God called me off my prayer post. No, that wasn't true. I thought he was calling me off my prayer post when he told me to let go of my spouse, right? Because he said, let go of your spouse. And then he said, leave your spouse. So I was like, well, maybe he's telling me to stop praying. That's not the case, because he gave me a dream that put me back on my prayer post, right? But I say all that to say, when you let go of your spouse, continue to pray for them. You don't got to war like all day, every day, like how you've been doing, but continue to pray, okay, for them, because God, the enemy is still going to be after your spouse, okay? Understand, I can't say everything live, okay? I'm gonna just put that in there. But the enemy is still going to be coming after your spouse. And so God is going to make you aware, which means you're going to have to stay on your post. You won't have to be on there like how you are now, okay? All day warn and stuff. It ain't going to be none of that. But when God show you and reveal to you whatever the plot, plans, and trick of the enemies are concerning your prodigal, what's going on with your prodigal, or even with you, that you're going to make, you got to stay on your prayer post, okay? Let me just say that. But we got to help ourselves to face the truth of the situation, okay? Because if we stay in denial, we're partnering with the enemy, and allowing the enemy to afflict you. You're allowing the enemy to cause further hurt and pain on your heart, okay? So you got to give yourself the truth to help you move forward, okay? The third way, how we're going to break this soul tie, is this unhealthy soul tie, is by unraveling the toxic memories of the past. You have to unravel the betrayal. So you got to help yourself make sense of, if you were betrayed, why did this betrayal happen? And then invite God into this mix, because God will come in and he'll reveal some things to you that you may not have even thought about. But you got to unravel that betrayal. You have to unravel the rejection. You got to begin to ask yourself, why did my prodigal spouse respond to me this way, or not respond to me? Why did they overlook me? Why did, your prodigal, say this or say that? Whatever it was that caused the rejection, you got to unravel that. You got to help make sense of it, okay? For some of you, you're going to have to ask yourself, this is how I coach myself. Because I asked myself, was I dealing with weakness or strength in a prodigal, right? I helped myself get clarity. Prodigals got a lot of weakness. Was I dealing with a confident person or insecure individual? I was dealing with an insecure individual, right? When you help yourself to understand, this is why this happened, this is what this individual, was built on, when this particular betrayal or rejection happened. When you help yourself to understand these things, then you know exactly why, the betrayal happened, the rejection happened, okay? The betrayal could have happened out of, a prodigal's weakness. Out of their weakness, out of their own lack of character, because of their own shortcomings, okay? The rejection could have happened because maybe your prodigal didn't know how to identify a wife. And so they kept running behind grown girls. When you begin to break this down this way, okay, because for some of you, you're taking it personal. You're like, if the rejection is causing you to feel some type of way, but you got to really give yourself the truth, okay? But we got to unravel the betrayal, unravel the rejection, unravel the enemy trying to take your life, okay? You got to unravel, the enemy trying to sacrifice you for a counterfeit. Get the truth of why that took place. Could it be that the enemy tried to sacrifice you for a counterfeit because your prodigal could have been motivated by greed? Mm-hmm. Maybe your prodigal thought they were getting something better with the counterfeit. They didn't have all the information on their God ordained. And that's the trick of the enemy. See, the enemy will highlight to, you or your prodigal, whoever going to listen to the enemy. The enemy will highlight all the benefits. I'll give you this amount of money if you betray him. I'll give you this person if you go ahead and sacrifice them, right? But the enemy don't never show you the condition of that individual's heart that he's trying to give to you. They don't never show you, okay, when you take that money, this is also what you take into a curse, right? You taking poverty. The enemy don't highlight these things, right? So I'm breaking this down because this is the work I do in my spare time, okay, to help me to heal and get clarity and understanding, okay, of certain situations I have dealt with. No, you don't stop praying for them. You don't. She asked the question, so do we stop praying for them? No, you don't stop praying for them. You continue to pray, okay? You don't have to be warned all day long for them, no. Just continue to pray, okay? You want to unravel the embarrassment. Unravel if you were humiliated. Why did that happen? I was just teaching in our academy Tuesday night on one of the reasons why God allows for the enemy to humiliate us. It's not that God wanted you to be humiliated, but he would allow for us to go through that because God is going to use that humiliation for our good. That humiliation could have been breaking pride in you. That humiliation could have been breaking, maybe you were someone who would clap back, right? Or, or get a person back, if they hurt you, you hurt them back, right? But because you went through this humiliation, it taught you something, right? It taught you, whatever it taught you, in that moment. Sometimes God would allow for us to go through these things because he's breaking, the very thing that can be harmful to our promise. Okay. I remember when I was being humiliated by the enemy, and I felt that old Taquila rising up. And for a minute, I gave in to her. I really did. I gave in to her, and I began to, because I used to have a mouth on me, and I began to say some things, and I heard God say, "That's enough." I heard him say, "That's enough, Taquila," because I know how to break a person down with my mouth. And I heard God stop me. He was like, "That's enough. I didn't send you there to break them." I said, "All right." So I had to go through that season of being humiliated. I had to go through that season of embarrassment, not knowing or realizing God was breaking. Okay, he was fully breaking that old Taquila in me. He was breaking that pride in me. He was breaking that need to always want to say something back. Boy, if y'all knew how I used to be, he was breaking that part of me down. Okay. But we got to unravel these things. We got to unravel the word curses. So whatever, word curses that were thrown your way, that you're still being affected by, these word curses still come up into your mind. You got to unravel that. You got to begin to put the truth there. Okay. If the enemy said you're not the right one, what did God say? God said you're the right one. You're the chosen one. You're the God ordained spouse, period. What God say, that's the final say so, period. Okay. So we got to, unravel these things. That's number 3. Number 4, stop trying to convince and let your prodigal see your come up. And I'm serious. Stop trying to convince your prodigal to see you, to acknowledge you, okay, to call you. Just stop and sit back and allow your prodigal to see this come up. Okay. This is what God is waiting on too. Okay. This is your vindication. All right. A lot of you are wondering when God is going to vindicate me when you break that unhealthy soul tie, when you let go of your prodigal spouse. He can't vindicate you if you're still holding on to the enemy. He can't vindicate you, if you still checking, okay, to see what the enemy doing. Stop trying to convince and let your prodigal see this come up, okay? The best revenge is to get better. The best revenge is to get better, okay? Not bitter, better, okay? Let your prodigal see you walk into joy. Let your prodigal see your happiness come back to you. Let your prodigal see you become your best self in this process. We got to stop convincing, stop waiting, stop wishing, stop wondering, and let your prodigal see this come up because it's coming. Okay? When your prodigal, I'm trying to think, do I want to share this one thing that's coming to my mind? When the enemy see God elevating and promoting you, and they are still in the same space, they still in the same position, that's the best revenge right there. Because that gives the enemy revelation. I'm in the same position. While they elevating, I'm trying to bring this individual down while God keep, taking them up. Okay? So stop convincing and let your prodigal see your come up, okay? Let your prodigal see their joy come back to you. Let your prodigal see peace. You walking in peace. You walking in your promised land. Leave them. If your prodigal continue to, they want to stay wallowing around with these counterfeits and God is telling you, get to the promised land, you get to that promised land, okay? Leave your prodigal behind, okay? God will catch them up in their time, in their season, when they're ready. But in the meantime, don't allow any prodigal to hold up your blessing. Don't allow any prodigal delay your blessings, okay? Get to the promised land. Sometimes, you just got to let people go. They want to continue to stay where it's hard. They want to stay in poverty. They want to stay where, they're being up under the, shame and guilt. Let them. God's calling you higher, okay? He's calling you higher. She said, I'm on the ark with Noah back. Exactly. Okay. Exactly. Hey, we don't got time. Don't be like Lot's wife and look back. No, peace. I'm out. I'm moving forward by faith. Okay. Number 5. I think I already talked about this, but number 5, when we talk about breaking a unhealthy soul tie, you got to look at what holding on to your prodigal is costing you. It's costing you your peace. It's costing you your sanity. It's costing you your purpose, your goals. Some of you can't even, accomplish your goals because your mind's still on your prodigal. You have convinced yourself, I can't start this until my prodigal, God bring my prodigal back. So you're going to put your life on hold? You don't want to walk into your wealth until God release your prodigal. Come on now. You don't want a better life until God release your prodigal? I don't know about y'all, but I'm not waiting. Okay, but you got to look at what holding on to your prodigal is costing you. Okay, it's costing you your happiness. It's costing you, your self-esteem and self-worth. It's costing you how you see yourself. When you look in the mirror, what do you see? If it's negative, why do you see something negative in the mirror? Who said whatever you see? Okay, because sometimes we could take on other people's negative words and begin to see ourselves the way how someone else see us. You got to begin to challenge these thoughts. Like, why do I see myself this way? It's costing you, okay? It's costing you your self-esteem and your self-worth. It's costing you your health. You're stressed out. You're sick. You're suffering in silence. Let them go. I have so much peace here, okay? Oh, I have so much peace. It's something else, okay? So much peace. It's costing you your mental health, okay? It's also costing you because it's changed. The more you hold on to your prodigal, it's actually affecting how you see God. Because again, some of you think God is punishing you. Mm-hmm. Some of you think God, is going to, how do I want to say it? A lot of you don't think that God is going to restore your prodigal. And so because you see how your prodigal is showing up, you're like, you feel like you're bound to this individual. You feel like God is forcing you to be with this individual when that's not the case. It's the opposite. God is like, separate yourself from this person. Let me finish my work in this individual. Let me restore this, right? This is a side note. God seen what you went through in your past. He's seen the broken relationship you were in your past, okay? He's seen the hurt and pain you experienced from your past. He saw the rejection. He's seen how people overlooked you, looked down on you, would judge you. He's seen all of these things. And when he tells you he got a God ordained marriage for you, when he reveals to you that this particular person is your spouse, what God is saying is, I'm about to restore all of what you went through in the past. For my man that's on here, God see what you have went through with the women in your past. He see it. He see how you've been abused. He see how, okay, these women, been talking to you, how they've been treating you, and how they've been making you feel, disrespecting you. He see all of that. And God is saying, trust me with your prodigal wife. Okay. He said, trust me with your prodigal wife. Give her to me so I can restore her into a submissive wife. And so I can teach her what it means to respect her husband. She must learn how to respect God first before she can learn how to respect her husband. She must submit to God first before she can submit to you, her husband. So God is saying, give her to me. I'm going to teach her. Okay, your wife, how to be that good thing to you. I'm going to teach her how to bring you good, not harm all the days of your life. Okay, your wife, when God get done with her, she's going to bring honor to your name, not shame. Give her to the Lord. And the same thing with the wives on here. God is saying, give me your prodigal husband so I can make him into a faithful man. I got to teach him how to be faithful with God first. He said, I got to teach him how to be faithful with his walk with the Lord. I got to teach him how to be faithful as, in his character, faithful, in his relationship with his own family. I got to teach him how to be faithful in his purpose. I got to teach him how to, keep his own word. Okay. He said, give me your prodigal husband so I can teach him how to not be harsh with his wife. God is walking this thing out with our prodigal spouses, but we got to give them over to the Lord. That lust you see your prodigal dealing with, God said, give him to me. I'm about to say something. God is saying, give your prodigal to the Lord. Because that lust they keep, being driven by, God will release his hand and he will allow your prodigal to have so much lust to where they don't even want it anymore. One day your prodigal is going to be with a counterfeit and they're going to feel nothing. They're going to be like, I have no joy with this anymore. They're going to become numb to the lust. Okay? But you got to give this to your to God. You got to give your prodigal to God so that God can begin to work on your husband. He can begin to mold and shape him to a faithful, loving husband who lives with his wife in an understanding way. He got to teach your husband how to be vulnerable. He got to teach your husband what it means to be a man. He got to teach him, and show him this is toxic masculinity. I need you to walk in healthy masculinity as a man. He got to teach your husband how to trust. You got to teach him his identity. He got to help grow him in character and identity. Okay. He got to teach him, okay, how to keep his word when he give it, how to not fold, how to not give in to the enemy. Stop stabbing people in the back. This is what God is saying to your prodigal. He's like, stop it. Each time your prodigal stab you in the back, he or she gets stabbed in the back. We got to release these prodigals. Okay. But you got to look at and you got to ask yourself, what is holding on to my prodigal costing me? I want you all to write that down. What is holding on to my prodigal husband or wife costing me? Okay. And again, when you get to the promised land, that's stage 8, God, if you haven't released your prodigal, God is going to be screaming it loud and clear. Let him go. Let him go. Leave. Because if you hold on to him in the promised land, it's going to cost you your promise. It's going to delay your purpose. Okay. It's going to block your blessing. And that's the very thing God doesn't want to happen. Okay. You don't want to be like Moses when God told him, you're not going into the promised land. God had got so upset with Moses, he said, you're not going. He was like, I'm done talking about this. I'm paraphrasing. You don't want to get like that. Okay. Number 6, the last one, when we talk about breaking this unhealthy soul tie with your prodigal, you got to make a decision to move forward by faith without your prodigal. Okay. And really, if I had to really say, the number one way to break a soul tie, make an unhealthy soul tie, is make a decision. You got to decide, I'm done. I'm not going back in this kitchen ever again. You have to, really stop playing with this thing and say, you know what, God, don't send them back until, you're done, until they're restored. Okay. You got to make up your mind. I'm not answering this phone. I'm not returning a text. Matter of fact, I'm just not. Okay. You have to recognize, that your prodigal, they're no good for you. You got to recognize that. I don't care, one day, one day, that 1 minute they saying all these good things or they acting good. It don't matter. You got to look at, once a week, you acting good or treating me okay, that's not enough. I need to see consistency. Okay. I need you to be consistent in this thing. Okay. If you keep showing me more bad, I'm gonna believe that and I'm gonna have to let you go. You see, but you gotta make a decision to move forward by faith. Okay. You gotta make a decision to take your love and support around those who also offer you love and support. Don't give it to no prodigal. You love them behind the scene. You love them while you praying. That's how you show your love to a prodigal. Just continue to pray for them, and that's it. Keep it moving. Okay. Because you can't afford to continue to hold on to this individual who's breaking you down, who's trying to destroy you, who's trying to hold you back, who's trying to sabotage your opportunities. You don't have time for that. All this work you've been putting in, standing, praying, you've been obedient to the Lord, God been breaking, these cursing off your life, breaking you out of these covenants. You don't have time, to be sitting up here entertaining a prodigal who's trying to pull you back into it. You kick that prodigal out of your life. You say, I'm making a decision today to remove you out of my life. I have faith that God is going to restore it. I have faith that when it's the right time, the appointed time, God is going to bring us, across one another's path, and we're going to walk into this marriage. But in the meantime, I'm letting you go. Period. Reclaiming my time. That's right. Mm-hmm. Alicia said, this live is right on time because my prodigal is being released by me to God. That's right. Okay. Let them go. Break the unhealthy soul tie. It's not hard. Don't say that. China, she put it so hard. I want you to put it's so easy. It's so easy to let go. I want you to help yourself to identify how easy it is to let go. Remember, you got to remember what holding on is costing you, what holding on is doing to you. It's easy to let go because my peace returned. It's easy to let go because I'm back focused on my goals, on my purpose, on my plan, or whatever. Whatever you need to focus on. It's easy to let go because now I get to see more of my worth. I get to grow in greater self-esteem and confidence. It's easy to let go because now I get to see, and embrace those who are already in my life, who's cheering for me. See, we don't understand when we holding on to what's toxic, that very thing that's toxic to you will cause you to self-reject yourself. It will cause you to neglect your own wants and needs. It will cause you to put your own purpose and goals on pause. It's not hard to let go. It's easy to let go. Life or death and life are in the power of the tongue. Choose life with your words. It's easy to let go because I know my value. It's easy to let go of a prodigal because I know my worth. I know what I do deserve and what I don't deserve. And I deserve respect. I deserve someone who see my work. I deserve someone who will pray as hard as I'm praying for them. I deserve loyalty. I deserve faithfulness. I deserve it. Are you feeling me? Come on now. It's easy. Put that in the comment. It's easy to let go. All right, so I'm done. I'm done. I know y'all got some questions, so come on. Okay, it's easy to let go. All right, it is easy to let go. We're putting ourselves first. Okay, we stepping into our worth. That's right. Wayne, drop the mic. It's easy to let go. Okay. No more holding on to to a prodigal. We're not holding on to brokenness. We're not holding on to the very thing that's trying to hurt you and sabotage your success. No, we're gonna let that go. Okay? Because we're moving forward. We going up. God is come on now. Y'all gotta get this. Y'all gotta get this. Okay. Mm-hmm. Let's see. And that's so true. Let me tell you something. She said, I had to let go because my prodigal's grace has expired. It will. It does feel like that. Like it really does. Okay. To be honest, the grace I had for my prodigal expired back in March. I said, you know what? I'm done. I did. I said that y'all don't think I go through what y'all go through, but I do. I said, God, I'm done. I'm done. I throw my hands up. I said, I'm tired. Okay. I know my worth and I know what I deserve, and I don't deserve what this person is offering me. Okay. She said, I mentioned to him when we abuse God's grace, our grace can run out with God. It can, because that grace, not the grace, but when we abuse God's grace, that turns into disobedience. Mm-hmm. Okay. I'm gonna do a if it's not a live, I'm gonna do a video on this, but do all things with faith said, how will we know when they're ready if we are in communication with them? I actually already got that written out. Um, but you would know. See, let me say this. Hold on, let me write this down. Here's how you would know. I'm gonna just help y'all to understand how I see this. So if you are a person with character, right? And you recognize your prodigal is lacking in character, right? So here's how you know. Like I'm gonna try. I'm not even gonna get spiritual on this. I know the person is ready when they can reflect back to me the very thing I'm giving. So if I'm loyal and I see loyalty in this person, okay, that's a check mark. Okay, ready. Okay. If I'm honest, right? If I'm an honest individual, if I'm truthful, and I see this prodigal is now coming back being honest and truthful, check mark. Okay, right? Another way how we can look at this. If I can stay loyal, even in divine separation, even if it's been years, okay, I'm just speaking for myself because I know a lot of y'all have issues with that word loyalty to a prodigal, but it's really loyalty to God. But if I can walk in self-control and discipline, right, and turn down counterfeits when they come my way, and when God releases this individual back to me, and I see them doing the same thing, check mark. You're ready. You see what I'm saying? Are y'all feeling me? So one of the ways how we can determine this individual is ready, right? When God releases them, or whenever you come back in contact with this person, if they can't at a bare minimum reflect back what you already have, they're not ready. You see what I'm saying? It can even look like, let's say you're someone who I'm the type of person, I don't like to hold grudges. I don't. Once I know a person, is holding something against me or upset with me about something, I want to talk about it. Let's talk about it. Let's settle it. Let's get over it. Okay. So if I'm approaching this relationship with communication, but yet you still giving silent treatment, that's telling me you're not ready. You're not ready. I'm not marrying something that's operating this way, that's giving silent treatment, that can't communicate. Oh, you see what I'm saying? But if they showing effort in communicating how they feel, or they showing you how they trying to tap into their vulnerability and they trying to express themselves, okay, I can work with that. So I'll get at a check. Okay, I hope y'all understand what I'm saying here. It's really the way how we know the prodigal is ready. You got to look at yourself. That's why you want to make sure you're doing your own personal work. You got to look at yourself and see all of what you are bringing to the table, all of what you are offering as a man or a woman, and then begin to look at your prodigal and say, okay, are they reflecting back what I have? Or are they still deficient? Because if it's more deficiency that I'm seeing, you're not ready. I'm not gone are them days where I'm reaching down, bringing you all the way up. Get ready in divine separation. Get ready, prodigal, because I'm not gonna keep on reaching down trying to bring you up here. I don't got time for that. You slowing me down. Mm-mm. Mm. Um, excuse me. I Joseph said I decided to not peek anymore. No anymore, no more. Okay. Do you think it's okay to look at pictures of prodigal anymore? Here's the thing, you got to ask yourself, okay, will looking at a picture of my prodigal spouse, would that cause me to go back in the kitchen? Would it cause me, or would it lead me back into an unhealthy soul tie with this individual? You have to know what looking at this picture is going to do to you. Okay. And then you will get your answer. I'm not looking at no pictures. Because I look at that as a door, to open up to the enemy. I already asked God, close it. You telling me to break this unhealthy soul tie? We're gonna break it and we're gonna close this door. And when it's time to open it back up, you open it back up, Lord. But I'm not gonna look at no pictures. I'm not gonna watch no videos. I'm not gonna listen to none of that. Amy, what you laughing at? She said, let God disinfect the kitchen. To me, the kitchen is deeply sad. Yes. Hmm. And it's true. We do. We have to let God disinfect that kitchen. Hmm. Oh, I like that. Danielle says sometimes you have to let go because the whale is about to swallow your prodigal, and you don't want to be in the whale with them, like Jonah. That's right. And when you read Jonah, remember Jonah was in that whale. When you read Jonah chapter 2, you don't read God saying anything. God left him in that well, and Jonah was in that distress. He was going back and forth. He was talking to himself. He was getting revelation all by himself. You don't read God said. It was Jonah and himself, his thoughts. And after those 3 days, he was like, okay, I'm ready, God. I'm ready. That's true. Facebook user said, I have learned if you don't know the purpose of the thing, you would abuse the thing. You will. If you don't know the purpose, I said a different way. I say this way. If you don't know the purpose of why God chose you for this particular person, you will abuse it. You will try to throw it away. You will try to sacrifice it for a counterfeit. You will mishandle it. You will mistreat it when you don't know the purpose of a thing. When you don't have eyes, or when you're missing the wisdom on how to identify a thing, right? If a if if a man is missing wisdom on how to identify a wife, he will never be able to identify his God ordained wife because he don't have the wisdom. You see? If a woman doesn't have the wisdom on how to identify a husband, okay, a man of God, a man of honor, a man of integrity. She's going to continue to choose grown boys. You see? So that's why we both of us, the God ordained believer spouse and the prodigal, this is why we have to do the work. Okay, so that we are not overlooking things. We're not, trying to get rid of, the best thing that God is trying to give us. Come on now. Yeah. He said that has been my struggle, turning from temptation as I wait, but I see the importance of it. Yeah, and I'm gonna tell y'all something. I'm gonna tell you something. These kids, the kids like to act up when I go live and stuff. They like it's party time. Mommy is she not paying attention? But I'm gonna tell y'all something. You said turning from temptation as I wait, but I see the importance of it. Yeah, let me tell you this. So I'm trying to think out which story I want to tell you. Here's the thing. I used to struggle with some temptation, but I'm gonna tell you this story. So ever since I got here, all them counterfeits been springing up, right? And I just been in my mind like it's a waste of time, entertaining they counterfeit. Like, I don't know, it's a different feeling. I don't even get a rush off of it. It's just like it's a different feeling. I don't know. It's a different mindset I have with that. But you got to walk that out, walk that process out. Hmm. Matthew, you're gonna have to continue to reject that blame and shame coming from your wife. Hmm. Yep. And that's another part of breaking the soul time. Melissa said, I let him go to be with his father, the Lord. Yesterday, I got rid of pictures, letters, and items he brought me while we was living in sin. The revelation I got, I don't need any memories of the past. That's right. That's another revelation. I mean, that's another way how we break the unhealthy soul ties. Just getting rid of, you know, um, all of these items, and just moving forward. Because you don't know if you hold on to these things, you don't know what can trigger you and pull you back into an old memory, pull you back into an old thought. You just don't know. Hey Taquila, I decided this week to let my prodigal go and move on with life. Only thing is, love spells are being done by counterfeit to the point where I feel it physically in my chest, like she's trying to tear apart our connection. How to pray about this while letting him go. The attacks this week have been unbelievable. Well, number one, if you can feel the attacks to the point to where it's like you can feel it physically in your chest, there's an open door in your life. Okay, like yes, when the enemy be attacking us, God will block it, but you shouldn't be feeling it to where it's all up in your chest. That means there's an open door. Open doors can look like you can have someone living in your household who's in sin. And because they're in sin, now that attack of the enemy is now able to hit you. Okay, so make sure you got all doors closed to the enemy. That's number one. Number two, know that you said she's trying to tear apart our connection. Listen, you're dealing with a prodigal. So let her tear apart the prodigal connection with the believing spouse. God even trying to tear that apart. Okay, like really, let's be honest here, right? But know that the counterfeit can try whatever. They can try however many love spells, whatever. Okay, at the end of the day, what God wants is going to come to pass. Okay, so all you got to do is just continue to pray against. I rebuke love spells, separation spell, humiliation spells. I rebuke it. I cancel it. I bind it. I rebuke all attacks from the marine kingdom. Okay, just that's it. But you want to make sure you have those doors closed so that you're not feeling it in your chest. Okay. Yep. That's right. She said, I don't want the memories of Egypt. I'm getting to the promised land. I'm telling you, when you get to that promised land, you're going to find peace, rest, joy. Okay. Yes, stop doing that, Danielle. Mm-hmm. He will. God will tear down and build back up. He will. Listen, God's daughter D said, I came to my senses last few days when I realized I was being left in pieces instead of peace. I'm telling you, listen. Mm-hmm. Mm. He says a hard pill to swallow when they come and say they are back, only to realize you planted another seed. Just know that God will use all seeds you planted for your good. Okay. And learn from this situation. So the next time they come back and say they're back, you have to have already in your mind or written down however way you operate, but you got to have in your mind, what does I'm back? How does that look for me? It's one thing for a prodigal to say I'm back. It's a whole different ball game when I have it. I'm a writer. When I have it written down, this is how I'm back look, because I'm not taking you back if you don't line up with what's on here. You see what I'm saying? So put some things in place, and just know that those seeds you're sowing, God is going to use it for your good. You said I had friend zone my kingdom spouse, and I'm used to being away from him and seeing him with his counterfeit. We weren't speaking for about a year and a half. God revealed him to me. Now I have feelings. It's okay to have feelings for him, but know what you deserve and what you don't deserve. It's okay to have feelings, but know your worth, know your value. Okay. Um, that's what I was saying. When we break the unhealthy soul tie, that don't mean, that don't mean you stop loving them. That don't mean you let go of your feelings. That don't mean, it just simply means I'm breaking this unhealthy attachment I have, with this individual. I'm breaking the control. I'm breaking the manipulation. I'm breaking it. Like, I'm just breaking it. I'm putting a stop to the enemy's plan. You can no longer mislead me. You can no longer, manipulate me. You can no longer give me false hope, okay, or broken promises. I'm not listening to it. That's what that means. And you can operate this way all still having feelings for your prodigal. Mhm. The Bible says, scriptures say the heart is deceitful, right? Above all, I'm gonna paraphrase here. It says something about it's wicked. And see, sometimes we can't even be led by our heart because of the condition, what the Bible say. Let me pull this up so I can quote it the right way. Yeah, it say the heart is deceitful above all things and desperately sick. Who can understand it? So I can't even allow my heart to say, because in it, your heart might be saying, "Oh, I love him. Oh, I care. Oh, I miss him. Whatever." I gotta tell this heart, look, okay, yeah, we're gonna say that until it's time for them to, give them, that part of my heart. Sometimes you just, this is what I do. I'm sharing with y'all what I do. Sometimes you just have to tell your heart, we don't love that. I don't love to be hurt over and over and over. I don't love the rejection. I don't love, trying to be destroyed. I don't love that. Right. And so I had to keep checking in with my heart, telling my heart, no, no, no. I know how you feeling right now. However, we can't give this person my good heart if they are in this condition, you see, because their actions, their words, their behavior is communicating to me they don't know, or they're not equipped to handle my heart. So I can't give it to them. You see, I gotta protect what the Bible say, guard your heart. I gotta guard my heart. And that don't necessarily mean I gotta have my guard all up, like build a fence around me. It just simply means I'm not giving you my heart until you come correct. I'm not giving you my heart until you show me you're gonna be consistent and you recognize my value. You see? Mm-hmm. Yep. Matthew said, "My wife feels me pulling away and is becoming more controlling. Rebuke that spirit." Oh, that's witchcraft. Rebuke that spirit of witchcraft, that spirit of control and manipulation, but continue to pull away. Okay. She got to see, as you continue to go in the opposite direction, God has to show her she's trying to control you because that's fear. Fear is motivating her to try to control you, because there was a time somewhere in her past where when she wasn't in control, things probably got out of hand, okay, and it probably went in a negative direction. But God has to show her, this is how you're behaving, and this controlling behavior is the very thing that's going to continue to push your husband away. Okay, so you continue to move in the opposite direction. Yep. Angela said, letting go means we trust God and are in full surrender to his perfect plan. Thank you for this message. You're welcome. Thank you. That's it. And that's what God told me. Because God started, he taught me this little lesson on letting go with one of my children's fathers. And he started off by saying, let him go, let him go, let him go. And then he was like, surrender. I just didn't know how to do those things back then, but now I know. Now I know exactly what he's saying and how to do it. Mhm. Yep. I know you mentioned to not block your God ordained spouse, but I wanted to change my number for some time now. I'm confused because I wonder, how would God get us back in contact? Leave the how to God and just do what you want to do. You want to change your number? Go ahead and change your number. Don't worry about how God is going to get y'all back in contact. Let me tell you something. Because when God give your prodigal the revelation of who you are, when God opens up your prodigal eyes to see your full worth and value, your prodigal will figure out, and they will track you down, okay, to get back to their favor. Okay, I think you're a woman. So you don't have to worry about, well, how God is going to do this. He is going to find you. Okay. I'm going to find you. Don't worry about it. Just go ahead and change your number. Right. She said, I remember God telling me I can't let you marry him like that, because that would make God a bad father. That would make him a father who don't really care about his daughter. You see? This is how much God loves us. He's like, and he loved the prodigals too. But God loved us so much to where he's like, no, I know what you've been through in the past. I know what you desire because I'm the one who put those desires in your heart. And he's like, let your prodigal go so I can get them ready for you. You see? And the same with the prodigal. God talking to the prodigal. God is walking them out of them counterfeit relationship. God know, for some of them prodigal, God is like, I know you want that counterfeit relationship, but God is like, I got something better for you. You know, God is helping them to overcome their fears because they probably never had better. And so now they're afraid of walking into what's better for them, right? It's unknown, right? And so God is, walking with them, talking with them, right? So we gotta let them go. That's what I was going to ask if you was in relationship with your God ordained spouse before about getting rid of our picture. Nah, we never had a relationship. I'm just the type that get rid of stuff. I'm the type before God corrected me, you tick me off, you do something to hurt me, I'm blocking you and I'm gonna act like you never exist ever. That's how I am. I don't block anymore because God corrected me about that, but I just get rid of a whole lot of stuff and I keep it moving. Okay, Carly said, I have been feeling so put off from my prodigal. As of late, I go through cycles of loving him and then the anger. So the anger is communicating something to you. Okay. So I don't know, how you processing the anger, but the next time that anger rises up in you, sit down, get out a piece of paper, a pen, and write down, okay, what exactly is this anger trying to communicate to me? What am I angry about? Right? And as you begin to write the stuff down, okay, and you just keep asking yourself all these questions because the anger is trying to come out, right? This is why God tell us to forgive, you know, um, and He said forgive 70 times 7, right? Because if we hold the anger in, it's going to turn into diseases. It's going to turn into sickness. It's going to turn into frustration or bitterness. Okay, or make your heart now hard. So sit with that anger and ask yourself, what is this anger trying to tell me? I need to unravel this anger. Make sense of it. Might even have to forgive myself, forgive the person who caused this anger, etc., etc. It is easy to let go. It is. My prodigal husband of 15 years now wants a divorce. So should I do so and let him go? He wants to release me because of my relationship with the God. So that's a prodigal. That's a full-blown prodigal. That's the enemy in him that's influencing him to say things such as I want a divorce. Okay. That is because that enemy in him is now coming up against the God in you. Okay. So you don't give a divorce just because this prodigal is asking you for a divorce. You have to ask yourself, okay, what do I want from this marriage? And then you have to go to your Heavenly Father, God, what do you want for this marriage? Do you want to restore this marriage? Do you want me to divorce? I'm gonna tell you right now, God is gonna tell you no, He don't want you to divorce your husband, okay, because God is for marriages, okay, and God will prefer, even if this is a self-ordained marriage, like let's say you put yourself in this marriage, God would prefer for you to bring him your marriage and let God rebuild this marriage on the right foundation. But you don't just go get a divorce just because this prodigal is saying that to you. That's the enemy speaking to you. So no, I mean, you got to ask yourself, what do I want? What do God want? And then that's going to be the final say so. And don't allow, if he's doing this, don't allow your prodigal husband to force you into giving him a divorce. Okay. You're welcome, Amy. I was told by a prophet that God is going to have me navigate women through a divorce. I really don't know what to think or do with that information. Yeah, I can. You got to look at your testimony. You got to look at the things you've been through in your past, because if you have um, a lot of life experiences around relationship, you don't necessarily gotta been married and went through a divorce to be able to speak to that. But if you got a lot of wisdom in that department, God can use you for that. um yeah, just like me, well, I did go through a divorce. But I can speak to a lot of different situations because I have been through a lot. Okay, and I have a lot of wisdom in those situations. But you just might be navigating women through divorce. That navigation can look like inner healing. It can look like deliverance. It can look like prayer. It can look like you're teaching them how to prepare for their God ordained future husband. You see, so yeah, that could be some truth to that. That's right. It's easy to let go of our prodigal because we know our worth. And that's just really what it boils down to. I like that. Discipline will help us get through, and integrity will help us all do what's right and not convenient. Yes. Yep. God is progressive. He's always going forward. Yeah. And then I'm gonna tell y'all this too. Your prodigal has to go through their process because depending on the calling that's on your prodigal's life, they have to go through their process to get their testimony, because their testimony is they're going to use their testimony when they get in their purpose and calling. Okay, so they got to go through their process without us. You said, I think she meant if we were in a relationship with our God ordained spouse before, should we get rid of all pictures? I mean, I would, like you have to ask yourself, holding on to these pictures or even looking at these pictures of my prodigal, what is it doing to me? When I look at this picture, does it make me want to go look at their social media page? Does it make me want to pick up the phone and call them? Does it make me feel sad? Does it make me start crying? Right? If it's making you do any of these things, then you just might want to get rid of those pictures. You just might, because it's impacted you in a negative way, in a way where God doesn't want you, to be impacted in. But if it's not having any of those effect on you, then you can keep the pictures, right? I'm just the type that I be getting rid of stuff. I just try to delete the person all the way out of my life. That's just how I am. That's just how I am. You're welcome. You're welcome. Nope. No, no, no. Is it possible to be in stage 8 in a matter of 11 months after God revealed He is my God ordained spouse? I keep hearing about waiting for years. I feel like I'll be 80 by the time we get together. Well, you're not going to be 80 if you are doing the work, okay? I don't think it's possible for you to be in stage 8 in a matter of 11 months because the death stage, okay, like these stages, the death stage isn't a easy stage. The death stage is like grief, it's depression, it's a broken heart, it's God, where are you? You abandoned me, right? And that can, you can, a person can stay in that stage for several months. You see, And then stage 7, which is the illegal seal, also aka your purpose, right? You got to work that thing out. The purpose and call, you got to work that out, and you can stay there for a couple of months. So, no, nope, nope. But you're not going to be 80, okay? Just continue to do the work. Focus on, continue, going forward and getting to that promised land. Yeah. God's child said, I learned you have to give the prodigal grace when the anger comes up and let it go. You do, because that's why I was saying you got to unravel that, and you got to help yourself to make sense of like what happened, because the enemy manipulates prodigals. Okay, like if you really think about it, if your prodigal was really in their right mind, if they knew the truth about who you are, if God opened up their eyes so that they can see the counterfeit they're choosing and being with, if they were confident, secure with themselves, they knew their identity, they would not have done these things they're doing to us. They wouldn't. So you have to give grace, because you're dealing with, yes, a prodigal, but you're dealing with a prodigal who has weaknesses. You're dealing with a prodigal who is insecure. You're dealing with a prodigal who is under manipulation by the enemy. You're dealing with a prodigal who is lacking identity. You're dealing with a prodigal who has scales over their eyes so they can't fully see you, right? You see? So we have to give them grace, okay? And understand we're not going to always get it right. I know I just said some things out of my mouth that probably hurt him, probably made him feel disrespected. And in the same way I got to extend grace to him, he got to extend grace right back to me. And understand when we talk about like enter into marriage, because when you say I do to an individual, every day you're fighting for this individual. Every day you wake up, y'all fighting for one another. Okay, you fighting to keep this together. You fighting to stay in good, healthy communication, right? So the fight doesn't start when you get into marriage. It starts, okay, like now, right now. So we got to keep extending this grace to one another, okay, and just helping ourselves to get understanding. Yeah. And that's a curse. That's a curse, right? She said, don't do like me and hold on to anger. And I ended up with 4 cysts in both breasts. That's a curse, too, you're dealing with. So you want to break that off of your life. Okay, that's an infirmity. So go ahead and break that off of your life. Yeah. And I'm glad you put that there. She said, I had to do a lot of praying, slept with my Bible under my pillow and anoint my head, because I was literally being tortured to death thinking about him so much. The soul tie finally broke. And that's how you know it's an unhealthy soul tie, when you feel tortured, when you are being tortured just from thinking about this individual, and you're hurting and you're crying and you're unhappy, and that's how you know this has become unhealthy for me. What are the consequences of breaking the soul tie with your prodigal? They are your spouse. There are no consequences. What are the consequences of not breaking the unhealthy soul tie with your prodigal? Just like she had posed, you're going to continue to be tortured. You're going to continue to be met with depression, anxiety, um, pieces, PIECES of mind, okay, instead of peace of mind. There are no consequences of breaking the soul tie with your prodigal, because that's what God wants. He wants us to break the soul. We were never supposed to form a unhealthy soul tie with a prodigal. Scriptures say, do not be unequally yoked with unbelievers. It tells us to separate ourselves from them, to come out from among them. It also say, can two walk together except they be agreed? There is no agreement between a prodigal and a believer. You see? So we were never supposed to yoke our soul to a prodigal. Okay, it's only when they become a God ordained believing spouse when we are to knit our soul together with this person. That's when the two become one. So there's no consequences of breaking it. Mm. Wow, that's a revelation. Y'all read that? That's a revelation. Wow. Mhm. The language is God ordained. Okay, it's not no twin flame or karmic. It's God ordained. Okay, all that other stuff is demonic. Okay, it's demonic. What exactly is a prodigal spouse? What makes a person a prodigal? What makes you a prodigal is that you were once walking with the Lord, but somewhere in that walk with the Lord, they stopped serving the Lord. They stopped being obedient to God's laws and commandments. And so this person who was once a believer, who was walking with the Lord, separated themselves from God. So when you read the story of the prodigal son, he asked the father, who represent God, for his inheritance. And when his father gave it to him, he went in the opposite direction. There was a separation taking place. So this person was now off in wild, reckless living. Okay. And that's what prodigals do. They go off in wild, reckless living. They, being led by the lust of flesh, prideful. It also talks about in Romans chapter 1, the wrath of God, because prodigals come up under the wrath of God. So the wrath of God would come upon those who keep suppressing the truth. So you just take prodigal spouse. We're talking about this is the spouse who God has chosen for you to do life with. But right now, this person is in a prodigal state of being, okay? Because prodigals come upon their reprobate mind. That's what it means. Yep. Realizing that prodigals are a counterfeit to their counterfeit puts everything into perspective. Two negatives cannot result in anything positive. Stop worrying, believe in spouses. That's right. Simple. Is there a stage when you start dreaming of your spouse? Nah. There will be periods in this process where God would he would slow down some of those dreams. Um, but you should never stop dreaming of them, because that's one of the ways how God is communicating to you, okay, in your dreams. I will say, ever since I got to the promised land, oh my God, these dreams have picked up. So I don't think there's a stage when you start dreaming of them. If that happened, you might want to rebuke that enemy off of your dream realm, go on a fast, because that's the enemy now manipulating your dream. Yep. Mm. You said I had a vitamin D deficiency because of this. Wow. What happens when your prodigal keep arguing with God about what they are supposed to do, trying to justify their action? They're gonna come up under God's wrath. I mean, you know you're a prodigal when you keep on arguing with God about your will. Come on now. They're gonna come up under God's wrath. That's Romans chapter 1. Um, and God will allow your prodigal to pursue their will, just so they run into a brick wall and then say, okay, all right, maybe I made the wrong choice. And then they'll turn around and go God's way. They're just gonna come up under God's wrath. That's all. I sometimes wonder if I'm a counterfeit because I'm my husband's second wife. That don't make you a counterfeit though. Just because you're the second, third, fourth, it don't matter. That don't make you a counterfeit. Um, his first wife left him, and I met him after that. Now here I am, but God told me to wait when I asked if I should leave. There you go. See, that's your answer. You're not a counterfeit. The enemy now is torturing you with thoughts of, am I the counterfeit? When God told you the truth. God said, wait. If God is telling you to wait versus leave, God is letting you know, I'm about to restore this thing. I'm going to restore this marriage. You're the right one for this husband of yours, okay? You're the one who, God has chosen for this marriage. So kick that enemy out of your ear, okay? It doesn't matter that you were your husband's second wife, okay? That don't make you a counterfeit. I used to be married. I put myself in that marriage, okay? That was a counterfeit marriage, okay? That don't mean this person who God has chosen, is a counterfeit, to me. No, that's God. That's God's choice. That's God ordained. You see? Okay. What kind of dreams should we be looking for when receiving confirmation of a prodigal spouse? You don't need to look for no dream. You don't. A prodigal, when you talk to them, when you are in connection with them, contact with them, they're going to reveal themselves to you. Prodigals, you dealing with a prodigal, okay? We're not going to go through this process. You dealing with a prodigal, okay? Now, if you just want to look for some confirmations in your dream that this is a prodigal in your dream, God might highlight separation, okay? You on one end, your prodigal on a whole nother end, or God can highlight in your dream your prodigal with this counterfeit or several counterfeit, and you could be like a watchman just looking at the dream or whatever. You're dealing with a prodigal, okay? You want to look at the fruit. That tells you whether or not this individual is a prodigal. Yeah, and I was looking at your question, your comment, and when you said you're his second wife and the first wife left him, um, because you're married, you want to look at God is showing you what your marriage is, the foundation is rooted on. So when I say the foundation, look at the foundation of your husband. Okay. Do you see identity? Do he know his identity as a man? Do he know his identity as a husband? Is he walking in his identity in Christ? Do you see character development or a lack of character? Do he know what true love means according to the Bible? And is he lining up according to scripture of a faithful husband, a loving husband, or does he show more fruit of evil willed husband? Because when I talk about God is going to restore your marriage, but he got to get the foundation right. The foundation is your foundation and your husband foundation. He got to flip it, okay, and get both individuals rooted on the right foundation. But begin to look at those things, and that'll help give you understanding of why you are standing for this marriage. Mhm. That's true because so let me read her comment. She said, I dream of my spouse, but it slowed down and definitely not constant dreams in the beginning. I think, hold on. I think in the beginning, God was trying to get my attention by constantly highlighting this person to me. And that's what God would do in the beginning. He would constantly, give us dreams, or you could be driving, you just keep seeing your spouse's name everywhere. You see it on street signs, right? You might see it on the car riding past you, right? He's doing that to get your attention. He's doing that to build your faith. He's doing that to give you confirmation after confirmation after confirmation. And once, God see your belief and faith has, risen, then he gonna slow it down. He's like, all right, I got you right where I want you. Then he gonna deal with you regarding something else. Yeah. Mhm. Yeah. Okay, so I'm tired after 15 years of marriage. This is our second separation. And I'm in my promised land. I don't want to keep praying for a marriage that my prodigal no longer wants to be in. Well, the thing is, I get what you're saying. Your prodigal no longer wants to be in it, but he cannot have the final say so regarding this marriage. Okay, he can't. Well, he shouldn't. Okay, it should be what does God want? Okay, I don't care. I don't care what the prodigal say. I don't care what the enemy say. If God want this, right? And this is the other thing God is dealing with us, okay, the believer spouse with, because we're God's children. He is our Father. And God is like, you're trying to get that act right. He's like, look, at the end of the day, it's what I want. God, it should be this way, right? He knows what's best for your life. I know you probably can't see it right now because you're dealing with a prodigal, but a prodigal don't want responsibility. A prodigal don't want a marriage because that comes with commitment. It comes with being responsible. It comes with him being the head, a husband. He got to walk in integrity. He don't want that. He want to go out here and have fun, right? So, of course, he's not going to want the marriage. But tell him, go play. Go on. Just don't literally tell him that. But that got to be your attitude. Like, so what? You don't want this. I'm over here behind the scene praying, partnering with God in this process. Um, and if it's tiring you out, then that's where you got to build in, your own self-care time where you taking care of yourself, you getting your mind right. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, that's right. See, there we go. Now, look, now we cooking with some grease. Okay. She said she talked about her husband. He don't know his identity, and he said he can't love me because he don't love himself, and he don't know how to love me, right? And so when he talked like that to you, your response, I want your response to be thank you for your honesty. I really respect that. I really respect you for being honest with me, okay? Because he is absolutely correct. He can't love you when he don't love himself, and he don't even know what love is, okay? So this could be something. Go get the book Love and Respect. I forgot the author name, but it's over on Amazon. It's called Love and Respect, okay? But he needs to be taught love according to the Bible, because he probably all he known is probably toxic love, okay? Which is why you're standing for your marriage. But he is absolutely correct. He's correct. He can't lead. He can't be a great husband if he's lacking identity. But when he's giving you this level of honesty, respond back with "Thank you for being honest. I really do respect that." Okay, and it's gonna do something to him. It's gonna make him feel respected as a man. Okay, um, but get that book. He got it. He just have to be taught the right way how to love. And I'll say this, because God can be using you, the wife, to teach him love, or to show him love in action. See, And I'm going to keep saying this, but according to scripture, love builds up, love is patient, love is kind to the one it loves, love tells you the truth in love, love forgives, right? So when you, the wife, is showing up this way towards your husband, he get to see true love in action. So it's almost as if you're teaching him this is what love is. Now, in the beginning, it's gonna be foreign to him. He's gonna be like, I don't understand this because he's used to toxic. He used to love hurting him. He used to love arguing with him. He used to love, leaving him, cheating, you see, or stabbing him in the back, or rejecting him, or abandoning him. He's used to all of that. But when you operate according to what love means in this Bible, you're walking out this love with him, showing him this is what love is. This is what true love is. And he get to learn it just by watching his wife. Okay, I'm not about to be interpreting y'all dreams on here now, okay? But this is you can interpret that dream right there. Facebook user said, what does it mean if you see your spouse in your dream now and he is wearing the wedding ring and the house is being remodeled? There you go. That's restoration. Look up restoration. Look up restore look up the definition for restore. And that's what God is telling you. He's remodeling the house. The house represent your product, your prodigal. Yeah, the house represent him. So God is remodeling him. Okay, he's removing what needs to be removed, putting in new things. He's restoring them. And if you drink that more than once, it's being established. What if your God ordained spouse is scared to divorce the counterfeit? Let them sit there in that counterfeit marriage until they are tired and ready to divorce the counterfeit. Because the thing is, they might be scared. However, you can't force them out of that marriage. God can't even force them out of that marriage. He can, but he's not. God is going to let us, like everyone, sit in our own mess. We keep choosing until it becomes uncomfortable, until we no longer want it and ready to walk away from it. You see? So let them keep sitting there. Okay? Let them keep staying there until he no longer want it. Um, well, why are you starting to think this person isn't? Why are you starting to think this person isn't your God ordained spouse? Let's start there. Whew. I think that's two separate things. Okay, listen, I'm gonna stop y'all right now. Don't give me no more dreams. Okay. Y'all see how I'm getting overwhelmed with these dreams. Don't even give me no more dreams. Okay. Mm-mm. Nope. No. Can you give me a water? I don't really know how to word this question. So, what if he's a believer, knows himself, engaged to someone? Oh, girl, get over there. You about to get in the camera. That's okay. Y'all know how the kids just be walking around the house. Um, what if he's a believer, knows himself, engaged to someone else, and y'all never had a convo, just weird encounters? Well, what did God say? If God said he's your God ordained spouse, then That's what it is. It don't matter that he's engaged to someone. You stay on your prayer post. Um, Continue to pray God's will be done in that in your God ordained love story. But when the time is right, when the appointed time comes for y'all to come together, God is going to bring y'all together. It don't matter if he's engaged. It don't matter. And it don't matter if you never had a conversation with them. It don't matter. If you are an empath, uh, when you feel the connection deeper, I believe in the beginning when the connection was made that I was overcome with feelings. Also, our only communication was via email. Yeah, you probably will be. But I believe when God reveals to us like this particular person is your spouse, that automatically comes with feeling. It automatically comes with hope, excitement. As women, we start picturing the future. So all of that plays into your feelings, your emotions, the connection, etc., etc. Okay. Um. So yeah. So all right. So how long we been on here for 2 hours? Wow. Yeah. It's time to break the unhealthy soul tie we form with our prodigal spouses and continue to move forward by faith. Okay. So with that, everyone enjoy the rest of your night. Um, if you all would like to speak with me in a one-on-one session, just head over to godordainedmarriages.com. Click on the tab that says coaching and book a one-on-one session with myself from over there. Okay. Um, you're welcome. You're welcome. So, I don't know if y'all heard my daughter. She was like, "You're done." Thank you, thank you, thank you all for joining, tuning in, asking your questions, and yeah, I'll be back on here tomorrow with another question, okay? Another video, okay? So everyone, enjoy the rest of your night. I'll talk to you all real soon.